Welcome back to Mets Daily. I'm your host, Jake Brown, at Jake Brown Radio. Make sure you smash that thumbs up right now if you're watching on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. We are 24 subscribers from 1,000. Today is my 34th birthday. We'd love to hit that today. Make it a birthday present for me. It's free. Just hit that subscribe down below. Share the channel with your Mets family and friends. We are 1 month in exactly today into Mets Daily, and we hope today, on my birthday, to hit 1,000 subscribers. We appreciate your support. Comment below. Guests are coming soon. Once the Pete Alonso news happens, whether he's a Met or not, we will get a weekly guest. We will do weekly live shows as well. Once we hit that 1,000, once Alonso's done, the roster's kind of set, we'll have an idea. And, starting with Pete Alonso here, let me just say this on what I said yesterday and what I have said about this situation. In the end, we are all Mets fans. In the end, we are all rooting for one common goal, and that's for the Mets to win World Series. Whether Pete Alonso's a Met or not, we can all agree we want this team to win. So, unfortunately, this whole saga has almost got political, where if it's like you're on one side, I hate you. If you're on this side, I hate you. In the end, we want to win. If it's my opinion from things that I know behind the scenes, what I have heard, and what I think is for the best Mets future is to move on from him, that doesn't mean I'm not rooting for the Mets. That doesn't mean I don't love the Mets. We're all in the same. We could differ on whether we want Pete Alonso or not and still be friends. We could still root for the team. We could still have a beer at Citi Field. We can still have a great time at the ballpark if we have a different opinion. And if he's back, great. I'm going to root them on just as I were to root for them if he wasn't back. So I just want to clear the air on that because it's gotten too hostile. You're not a fan if you don't want Pete back. How could you not like him? Well, I have my reasons. You have your reasons. We all have reasons for everything. It's gotten way too political, like you're on one side or the other. In the end, we're Mets fans. And let's just hold hands and say, let's go Mets together. One guy who was good friends with Pete Alonso is now on the move, and we knew he was gone. As soon as the Mets got Jose Siri, we knew that Harrison Bader was gone. And you see right here, right there, the Harrison Bader, the king of the thirst trap, the king of the crop top. Almost every girl drooled over Harrison Bader. It felt like, a guy was out at Ray's downtown Manhattan, was, took in the city life, was a Yankee, and then he was a Met. Harrison Bader was a nice Met. I think he was good for the team. He had his moments, but in the end, he kind of, he showed us who he was. He's a below-average hitter who's a good defensive player, and I didn't think his defense was – I thought he was good defensively, but he wasn't the greatest defender like I thought he would be. He did play a decent amount of games. He stayed pretty healthy for the most part. I think the knock on him was that he gets hurt a lot. But, he had a couple big hits. He had a walk-off hit. But in the end, he was an okay center fielder, and he ends up going to the Minnesota Twins on a one-year, $6.25 million deal. Could have had $2 more million in incentives, and he'll have a mutual option with the Twins for 2026. I think it's a nice deal for him. I think it's smart for him to go to the Twins. It makes a ton of sense. And, I think it's also smart that the Mets were to move on. And when you look at the numbers here, Jose Siri versus Harrison Bader, I think the Mets made the right call here. Jose Siri gives you a lot more potential. He's 29, Bader's 30, but Jose Siri is making $2.4 million and is under team control through 2027. So Siri's never going to cost you as much as Bader. And when you look at the numbers here, yes, Bader's average OBP is higher, but you look at the home run potential, Siri's got a lot more potential. Siri had 25 homers in 2023 in 101 games. That's a homer every 4 games. He has the potential to be, a 25 homer guy again. He had 18 last year in 130. His average dropped. But the, RBIs are higher. The games played are higher. He's just more consistently healthy. And I think he's a spark plug. He, doesn't get caught stealing as much. Bader had issues getting caught stealing. They both can steal some bags. I thought this was a no-brainer. If Siri could just be a little bit more disciplined at the plate, the Mets might have found themselves a really cheap center fielder, both elite defensive players. I would argue Siri might be better defensively than Harrison Bader. So I'm excited to see how Siri works out. And again, there's going to be times he doesn't start. Tyrone Taylor might start in center. I've brought up Luis Angel Acuna maybe starts at some point in center. And when you look at their WARs, and I didn't put this on here, 2023 WAR for Harrison Bader was 0.6. Siri's 2023 WAR 1.7. Harrison Bader's 2024 WAR 0.9. Jose Siri 1.8. So his WAR is double. He hits a lot more homers. He drives in more runs. He steals more bases. If he could just get that average and on base just a bit higher, I think he'll be a nice add to the Mets lineup in the bottom of that order. So good luck to Harrison Bader. I think a lot of people enjoyed him. The ladies truly enjoyed him. Our Hebrew Hammer, the crop top the thirst trap king, our trap king, in the words of Fetty Wap. But the Mets move on, and he goes to the Twins, and he gets an opportunity to play there. And I think that's a good fit for him. Another guy who was a former Met, who we talk about now, do the Mets consider bringing him back? Should the Mets consider signing Justin Turner if Pete Alonso indeed goes elsewhere? And I don't think you should overlook this. I think Justin Turner is an intriguing ad if the Mets were to do it. This is a guy who's played 16 years in the big leagues, and he's been pretty consistent throughout his career. And what I like about Justin Turner is his ability to play different positions. He's played first most recently. He's played second, third, and he could be a part-time DH. You have Jesse Winker as your left-handed DH. Right now you have Starling Marte as your right-handed DH, but remember, Marte is going to get paid over $20 million this season. So if the Mets decide to move on from him, maybe Turner ends up being a cheaper platoon option. Justin Turner made $13 million last year in total. We'll see what he ends up making in free agency. He was a Blue Jay, and then he got traded to the Seattle Mariners. So with the Blue Jays and Mariners, you see his numbers. Listen, they weren't that great. 11 homers total, 55 RBIs. He hit 259 with a 354 OBP. But, average and OBP numbers are still better than Pete Alonso. His WAR for 2024 was 1.5. His WAR in 2023 is 2.1. You look at, just 1 year removed at 39 years old. 38, 39 years old in 2023. Justin Turner at 23 homers drove in 96 RBIs. That's more runs driven in than Pete Alonso. Again, he would be a fraction of the cost. It would be at the most a 1 year deal. At 40 years old, he's only getting 1 year. He got $13 million last year. My guess is maybe he makes, with the down year he had, $8 million. I would guess $8 to $10 million at the very most for 2025. I wouldn't overlook Justin Turner, despite his age, despite it being 40. I do think his versatility, playing every infield position, being a veteran mentor. He's played in New York. He knows Queens a little bit. I wouldn't hate if the Mets signed Justin Turner. Because, listen, if they move on from Pete Alonso, I think they're getting someone. They're getting, whether a Torkelson trade, a Mountcastle, Turner in free agency. I think they get a bat. I don't think it's just, all right, we're moving, Beatty. We're playing Beatty at third, we're moving Vientos over. I think they're going to get somebody. So Justin Turner is a name to keep an eye on as the Mets continue to await whether Pete Alonso comes back or he doesn't. It's a birthday mailbag, Mr. 205. So every Wednesday, every hump day, we read your top 3 comments from YouTube. Again, hit that subscribe, comment below your comments. Maybe I'll read them tomorrow. But comment below what you think so far. What do you think of Bader going on? What do you think of Justin Turner potentially if the Mets moved on from Alonso? Comment below and subscribe, please, to Mets Daily. We're about to hit 1,000. Let's do it by midnight tonight in honor of the birthday. Let's get to 1,000. I appreciate the support, and those thumbs up really help. So smash that thumbs up. You see I got that new Amazing Day poster up behind me as well. We're continuing to add artwork to the walls. We're making this home studio a little bit better each day. So let's go to your comments. And again, we appreciate your comments on Tuesday's video. You can go back and read some. Some are hostile, some are too long, so we won't go through it. And again, to the hostile ones that don't like my opinions on Pete Alonso, I go off what I know. And again, these are things I don't put out there. I'm not trying to burn any bridges. What I have heard behind the scenes, that factors into my decision, and also just the logic of older, 2 down years in a row, not paying, the everything that's happened in free agency, the boards, the negotiations, it all factors into why I'd like them to move on. But like I said earlier, if they bring back Pete, we're all rooting for the Mets and we're rooting for Pete. I'm not rooting against the guy. I just think it's the smarter investment to move on. So let's go to your comments now. Appreciate it. 34th birthday mailbag. We'll start with loyal watcher Jonathan Shankoop. I'll never say it right. I was fascinated by this question. He's clearly watched at Jake Brown Radio my food reviews that I do at the ballparks. Please rank these from best to worst. Madison Chicken Parm, Benetari's OMG Sandwich, Yankee Stadium Meatballs, and the Citi Field Juicy Lucy. So Madison was the Madison Avenue on Fifth Avenue. Madison on Fifth. I forget the name of it now. Chicken Parm. OMG Sandwich is number 1. Benetari's OMG Hero. It was just remarkable. The ingredients in it was vodka chicken parm, the seasoning on it, the melted mozzarella, the fresh Italian bread on the Hero. Everything added up to the OMG being number 1 on this list. I've had so much chicken parm, so The Madison chicken parm wasn't the best I've ever had, but it was, it was top 5. But I've ate from so many different places. I'll put that at 2. I will put the Juicy Lucy at 3. That is the Adam Richman famous burger at Citi Field they had last year. It's got some onions in it, some cheese built into the burger. That was delicious. But I actually liked the burger up top better in Promenade. I'm blanking on the name right now. The burger up top. Let me know in the comments. I did a review on it. It's my birthday. I don't remember. I like that burger better. It's an award-winning burger up top. Mel's Butcher Box. There it is. Mel's Butcher Box burger I like better than the Juicy Lucy. So I'll put OMG Ben & Terry's in Flushing, Queens 1. I'll put the number 2, the Juicy Lucy. I'll put the chicken parm 3. And then I will put the Yankee Stadium meatballs 4. Those were good meatballs with the bread, but it is Yankee Stadium. It takes a bit of a dive. And you could get meatballs, I feel like, anywhere. So that is number 4. Good question. This one from Larry Bergillo, 44. If the Mets don't sign Pete, there will be no playoffs in 2025 unless a couple players we're not expecting to step up and have breakout years. Just look at that lineup as it stands now. Exclamation points. Well, Larry, I'll say this, and I think I responded to this. In Pete Alonso's worst season as a New York Met, they had their best season as a team. In a season where Pete Alonso was not clutch at all until that game in Milwaukee in the playoffs, the Mets were able to triumph over that from Francisco Lindor, Mark Vientos, and everyone else. So my response to that is the Mets did just fine for 99% of the season with Pete Alonso being terrible and hitting a lot of homers that didn't count for much in the regular season. So I actually think they would be fine. Again, they'll add a hitter, whether it's Turner, whether it's Yandy Diaz, they will add someone. And Mark Vientos hit 27 homers in the 111 games. He's on pace for 40 homers. So you have Juan Soto in that lineup. Yeah, he might hit in front of him, but he's still in the lineup. You have Mark Vientos. Brandon Nimmo, I think, due for a bounce back. I said about Siri being a 20-homer guy. Alvarez, I think, is going to be a 25-homer guy. They have bats. They have Starling Marte. They have Jesse Winker. They have Jeff McNeil maybe prime for a comeback season. You have Acuna potentially. I think they have enough behind him to be just fine. You don't need an all-star exactly to hit behind, Juan Soto. So I think they'll be fine. Last question. Happy birthday. Thank you from RW Davis 22461. I think it's correct. I blame Pete's greed. I blame Pete for this. Let Pete go to Toronto. I think everyone deserves the blame. I think Boris deserves the blame. Pete deserves the blame. I don't think it's fair to put the blame on the Mets. They offered him to be the 4th highest paid player at the position. They've offered him 7 years in the past. He said no, 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 and now he wants to say yes because no one wants him. The last person that deserves the blame is Stearns Cohen in the Mets in this scenario. I think it's shared between Pete, his old agent, his new agent, Boris, and, the advice that he was getting from all those people combined. I'm Jake Brown. Smash that thumbs up at Jake Brown Radio. This is Mets Daily, about to hit the 1,000 subscriber mark. Thank you so much for your support of the channel. Thank you so much for the 34th birthday wishes. Back to the grind again tomorrow on Thursday, February 6th, before the Super Bowl this weekend. Thanks, everybody, for watching Mets Daily. We'll talk to you tomorrow.